Hi, everyone. It's Diane Evans with stampinwithdiane.com. I'm an independent Canadian Stampin' Up demonstrator here in the interior of British Columbia. So if this is one of your first times joining me on YouTube, welcome. And if you're joining me through Facebook, welcome as well. I do really appreciate it. If by any chance you haven't subscribed or liked my page, make sure that you do that. The links are down below where you can do that. But this is all part of my Facebook and YouTube Live that I do every Thursday night, or almost every Thursday night, unless I'm not in my studio. So today, what we're doing, can you see kind of what we're using? I'm excited. Part of my Now What series. So you've got something in your studio, and you're going, oh, well, how do I use that? I bought that, but now what? In any event, I'm just going to pop on right on down to my desktop, and then we're going to see. So the whole thing is that I'm thinking about and want to go is, you've got Versamark, now what? Yeah, you've seen me do an awful lot of embossing, which is great for Versamark, but there's a lot of other techniques and a lot of different things that you can do with this fantastic stamp set. Tonight I'm just going to show you one. Hello. And then I'm going to show you one to make a card. And this was inspired to do this today because of this week's stamping specials. But first of all, let's go, and I want to show you something that you can do with it. I love the soft seedlings. This is, to me, such a Canadian stamp with the maple leaf and the key and beautiful fonts that are involved with this. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to use this, but I want to show you one of the key things that you can actually do with Versamark. Versamark can be used as, can be used as a watermark. So what I could do, and this is Coastal Cabana, I could stamp in Coastal Cabana, but what happens is I can get a watermark. So if I go, and this is quite a juicy stamp. I treated myself to a new one a few months ago. You could go like this, and I know that that looks like nothing's happening, but as it starts drying, see how we're starting to get a bit of a watermark. Let me use the bigger stamp, the maple leaf stamp. I love this maple leaf. It reminds me, well, it is so much my backyard and my front yard. I have two huge maples in my, well, I have one in my front and one in my back. The one in my front, and if anyone was following me, they saw that I was doing major um, landscaping in my front yard, but I could not cut down my maple tree because that maple tree gives the most gorgeous pink flowers. But see how now that is part of a watermark. And as this dries a little bit, and it does take a little bit to dry, it's going to give a great background kind of look. Hello. But it's going to give you that background look that you can do that. But this is not really what I wanted to do tonight. What I wanted to do was, did you see the weekly specials that came out today? There's some excellent things on here, but this is what I'm focusing on, are the soft pastels. And yes, I have used this before, but I want to show you with this stamp set. It really is, when you see the colors that are in these soft pastels, you go, that's not going to work. Trust me, it works. There's so many other things that are amazing here. These Memories and More cards and envelopes. That's something that we're featuring in the bingo, the bingo group that we're doing next month, but cut off, I think, is around the 15th of this month. I'd also done in these slimline envelopes, I'd made a gift card holder with that. I remember with these snowy white velvet sheets, I had done some really pretty poinsettias with that. And the rose gold, I'd done that with the Joyful Flurry. So a lot of these I have used. Of course, I've used this open weave ribbon. So this is a great sale, a great thing in order to add on to what you want. So if there's certain things that you want through your perfect pairing or anything like that. Oh, I know. Oh my goodness. And honestly, with the queen dying, yeah, it's really put a damper on my day. I have my friends over in the UK, and of course, she's our sovereign as well. So, yes, may she rest in peace. And what a wonderful reign that sovereign reign that she did have for 70 years. Amazing. And truly a special, special type of woman, and an awful lot of real connections with Canada, that's for sure. In any event, we are going to use these soft pastels, but see, let me come back in with that Coastal Cabana and see now how it's starting to show up. And it really works very, very well with the watermarking. So I want to use those soft pastels. So I've got my cardstock here, and we're going to do a bit of cutting with it. We're going to do a bit of different things. But Versamark and these soft pastels are going to be our friend today. So I have this piece of very thick, very vanilla, and it's cut at 4 1/4 by 11, and I've scored it at 5 1/2. So let's go fold it into the mountain. And then we're just going to use our bone folder and get a really, really good crease on there. Now, another thing that I really like, and I don't think I brought it over here with me, is those falling leaf embossing folder. Can you see that embossing folder on there? This is a 3D embossing folder. It's in the annual catalog. Amazing tool. And I did show it the other day. I am actually going to turn it this way because this has an open space here. I want that to be up at the top. I want this embossing to show on the bottom. I'm not going to attach that because I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with it. I do have some of that distressed gold paper, and I love that paper. And it happens to be, I've got to bring this down here, 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. Yes. And then this piece must be 4 inches by 4 inches. And that's not 4 1/4. That's going to be, there we go, 4 3/4 by 4 1/4. And then this one's going to be 3 1/2 inches by 4 inches. And I want to put that's going to kind of be, and you can tell I'm going to be doing a fall card, right? I do have another piece of very vanilla, and it happens to be 3 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And I'm sorry I have to measure this, but I had changed this up a couple of times. So in that way, I kind of messed my mind up on the measurements. So this is the piece that we're actually going to be playing with. Now, if I want, I could create some watermarks to go around the edge here, but I think there's going, I think there's going to be enough on this card. So let's talk about the soft pastels. Now, the reason this Versamark is the star of the show tonight, the reason I brought this out is because of the soft pastel assortment. Guess what? They're on sale for the next week. So these are all in Canadian prices, but the regular price is $12.25, but you can get them for $11.03. These honestly are a great coloring tool. The colors that are involved in here is, I think this is Daffodil Delight. This is Mango Melody. This is Poppy Parade. Mellow Moss, or Mossy Meadow, Gorgeous Grape, Coastal Cabana, Granny Apple Green, and Night of Navy. And what great colors that they have in here. I honestly really wish that they would come out with another set of colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my block that's here. And we are going to come in with our Take Your Pick tool. Now, this is the end that you see me use the most. Bring this part out, and it's a great lifting tool. It lifts off an awful lot, but watch this. I am going to use my Mango Melody, and I'm just going to scrape off some of this color onto this clear block. And then another color I'm going to use, which seems a little strange using together, is this Poppy Parade. And honestly, this is such a beautiful color, but we are going to make it look kind of Cajun-y craze. My new word, right? And then we're going to use the Mossy Meadow as well. So I'm just scraping these off because I'm finding what I need to do is I need to use some of these colors. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put them away. Now, I love the fact that they have this cushion in there. That cushion allows you to, so it doesn't break. I mean, they'd be fine if they do break. They don't get so that you can't use them, but really to preserve them is amazing. Now, the other key to this whole different technique is to use sponge daubers. Now, you might want to be able to use sponge daubers and you might want to use makeup brushes. Now, I've used those. However, I do have a way of using it. Now, I keep all my sponge daubers that I use with these specific colors in a bag. I don't want them mixed up with any of my ink. I want to keep them this way. All right. So let's just move that a bit out of the way. I'm going to have this all over the place. And I'm going to bring in this beautiful stamp set. Now, this is like a distinctive stamp set. It doesn't say it's a distinctive, but it has beautiful lines on there. So I'm going to come in with my star of the show, which is Versamark. And like I say, you know how much I use Versamark just with my embossing. And you know what? I won't disappoint you. I'll be using Versamark again tonight. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this leaf image on this piece of Very Vanilla. I probably should have brought it down just a little bit. Now I want to make sure it is a rubber stamp or a clear stamp. So I want to make sure that I've got it good and stamped. So if you can see that, see how you can kind of see that. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my sponge daubers and I'm going to be very careful on how I'm placing this. So what I want to do is I'm just going to come in with my sponge dauber, and the way I see leaves and the way that I've seen leaves on my particular tree is I'm just going to come in and we're just going to use, see how that's now starting to pick up those colors. And I'm going to use those also on the stems. And we'll use them on the, as somebody informed me, these are called keys. I've had a maple tree for 20 some odd years and I never knew that these were what they were called. But see how, I'm just going to see how that's starting to work. It just is amazing how this works. I'm now going to come in with my Mango Melody using a different sponge dauber. And I now want to bring this back in here. The Daffodil Delight, this Mango Melody kind of works kind of like a Cajun craze is what I'm thinking. I want to bring that up. And see, you can kind of see it. And then you watch what this Poppy Parade does. I'm quite shocked at the way that this works. So I'm just bringing the Poppy Parade is coming up to the tips of these leaves. I'm now going to go back in with my Cajun Craze. And I am also going to go back in with my Mossy Meadow, because I want to bring all these colors together to give us a beautiful autumn leaf. Now, I also want to, let's see, I think we're going to do some Poppy Parade on these keys. And we're also going to use some Mango Melody, because that's almost too much there. The Mango Melody is kind of giving us a different, an orange kind of hue on there. Now, some people have asked me, do you have to work fast with this? Not necessarily. You can work to the point of that Versamark stays really, really dry or really moist. Dry. Okay, so I'm just going to come back in, and I want to come back in with my Mossy Meadow. It's really, it doesn't really look that Poppy Parade color. But you can see now, look at how beautiful that works. Now, the other thing to do is once we've got this, now this to me, you could leave this where it's all like that, but I use just an artist eraser, and I'm just going to go in and take out some of that color that I don't want on my stamp or my stamped image. And see, that is now taking off. I think I'm going to go in a little bit more with the Mossy Meadow. And then what I really think we need to do is I think we need to just, I'm going to come back in with that sponge. How beautiful is that, right? Let me show you a little bit closer. So pretty. And it's got those veins in there. It's just beautiful. And then I'm just coming in to get more of that look of the veins with my finger. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to go in, and I am just going to lightly sponge this around the edges. Now, I can leave this if I want to do a bunch of cards like that. Ooh, this is going to be very, very juicy. Not good. I'm just going to come in with my, and that's just, I just want a tiny bit of color. I want to take that starkness away from the edge. There we go. There. So we have that. Now we are also going to go, until I put this together, I've got a piece of Mossy Meadow. And like I said, what other thing are we going to do with the start of the show? But we're going to do some heat embossing. So I am taking my embossing buddy. Now remember, have you got the embossing tool? What amazing tool. So I want to do a thank you card. So I'm going to do So Grateful. It's a juicy pad. I'm going from the top to the bottom. We don't want halos with this. I hope I can get this straight. Nope, not straight at all. Now, one way to actually test your stamp with Versamark is to actually go in and use it on your silicone mat. And I can kind of see if that's straight. Oh my goodness, I think I'm going to have to go. And let's do this like this. See how that works? Nope. I'm going to have to grab another piece of Mossy Meadow. Whoops. I do have a lot of scraps in my drawers, so let's see what we've got here. This is quite small, so let's see how that works. My goodness, I can't seem to get this straight. Let's try that. Much better. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to see how that does a watermark on there, but I'm going to come in with my gold embossing powder. we are just going to take this. I'm going to use just a scrap piece of paper and come in and just put that over top. Find if I come in with a scrap piece of paper afterwards, I don't get that ink all over the place. And then just do a quick blow on it. I do have more just in case we need to have that fixed. Now I'm coming in with my embossing kit. I'm using the tweezers, and let's go ahead. Now what I'm going to do is just heat this up a little bit. Let's just use the embossing. So again, what you can do is you can turn around. Oh, thank you. You can turn around and you can basically use this thing here to hold it so that you don't get it. It basically until so that you don't get it so that it burns your hands. All right. So we've used the pastels. Let's go ahead and put this card together. Now, check this out. Now, that doesn't look like it fits, right? So what I wanted to do was give a bit more of a look on this particular card. So what I'm going to do is I'm coming in with my trimmer. I'm going to cut off 3/4 of an inch off this side, like that. Then I'm going to turn around and take off 3/4 of an inch off this side. I could have done, it's 3 inches wide, so I could have done an inch, and an inch. But I wanted a bit of a variation on it. So it just shows you how easy that is to kind of change this card up just a bit. So this is going to go here. We're going to put this in the middle. See, that's how that's just adding a bit of a different look towards the card. And I see that there's a bit of that Poppy Parade there. So I'm just going to come in and just clean that up a little bit. All right. So I'm going to come in with my glue. And it's about 1/8. You know, these are not my colors, but they're kind of working for me. I think it's because it's a Cajun craze and I didn't use crushed curry. And honestly, I'm starting to use more crushed curry than I've ever used before in my life. And I've been stamping now. We're Stampin' Up for 20 years. I haven't been a demonstrator that long, but 20 years. And I'm sure my crushed curry has only been used about less than 5 times. How sad is that, right? So let's just see if that's going to work. Yeah. So we just want to bring that out like that. See how that's kind of working together and giving a different look, right? You definitely couldn't do this before. You want to cut it afterwards. So thank you. So let's go ahead, put this on here. And then, of course, that's the continuation of the image there. And I thought it would look good on this distressed gold, which I think is okay. Then we're going to put this on here. And then this is going to go onto here. So maybe what we should do is do the inside of this card. So let's quickly go ahead and do the Versamark again, because I honestly think that we should do a continuance to the inside of the card. I'm just going to go ahead, put this off to the right. And then what I'm going to do is come in with my chalk again. I think I need a bit more of that. And this is the beauty. That chalk is going to go on forever and ever. because there's so much on there by the way that I'm doing this. And then, of course, we want to get the Poppy Parade on there as well. You know, I think at this point I could come in here. Let's add a bit of the green. That yellow, or the Mango Melody. And then, of course, the Mossy Meadow as well. And this is going to kind of tie the front of the card with it. All right, so let's go ahead. I am using the fingers to get so that I burnish it so that you see the veins on the leaf. I'm just going to come in and clean that up just a tiny bit. And not that it really needs it. You know what? I really like that green coming up there. There we go. All right. So now we can go ahead and put this card together. We're thinking it's going to go like that. I want to put this So Grateful. Now, am I thinking that this So Grateful probably should have been a banner? But I'm going to put it across there. Let's go ahead. Before I put this on, I'm going to glue these together. So what do you think of these pastels now, right? What do you think of Versamark? I think Versamark's one of the best inks out there. You can do so many other things. This is only the tip of what you can do with Versamark. Okay, let's pull that so it's together. Got a bit of glue there. Don't forget the tip about a sponge. Just doing that for some reason, it just takes that off. Like I say, this is the Fallen Leaves embossing folder. I'm going to cover that part up. I want the embossing to be down there. So let's go ahead and cover that. Now you notice we haven't done any popping up with dimensionals on here. Wow. You know, you should really see this in real life. It's so pretty. All right. So I do have this ribbon that's from, oh my, glowing, what is it from? Christmas Aglow Suite. And I think what I'm thinking of doing is that I can go ahead. Let's go So Grateful. I'm going to actually go ahead and put this on with, we're not going to do a bow. We're actually going to do a faux bow. So I'm just using my tear and tape. When you use ribbon and put it onto a card, the best thing that you can do with that is to use your, I'm going to actually come in and put that about like that. I'm going to use the tear and tape, but you want to double tape it. So I'm just turning that around. Thank you. Oh, really? It's the first time you've seen it? There used to be an old technique, and normally I would save this technique for my Technique Tuesdays, but because when those pastels came up, and I thought, oh, Versamark is one of my ink pads that I use the most, so I'm glad. So let's go ahead, use this beautiful ribbon. Just going to put that like that. That around there. And then what you want to do, I'm going to come in with my ribbon scissors. Now what you want to do to secure that so it doesn't go anywhere, that ribbon, is here. Have you gone into your studio and you've had a card that you've had for quite a few years? Somebody has just used seal or anything to put it down and the ribbon has come off. This is not going anywhere. All right, so let's go ahead and put that on the front part here. So I can put that on with glue. I'm not taking those pieces off. I could, but I'm not going to. There we go. Let's go ahead and put that on the front of this card. And this is going to go here. Now, it's pretty straight. Well, what I'm actually going to do first is let's go ahead and put the faux bow. A faux bow means that we're just making it like it's a fake bow, but all I'm doing is tying a knot. The other part to tying anything with ribbon is to tie it tight. Oops. So looks like a bow, hence the reason faux bow. And then let's turn around and let's just, now do we want it that large? I think I'm going to come in with my, well, I've got my paper trimmer right here. So let me I'm just going to cut this off just a tad. So I think I'll go maybe, and just a bit off to that side as well. I didn't want to do any cutting with it. I thought this would be kind of fun. It's not something that you need a cut and emboss machine for. So let's go ahead, put that there. And let's put that on with dimensionals. So I am attaching it sort of over the ribbon. So I'm going to do this up at the top, because if I do it on the ribbon, it's going to flip and flop on the ribbon. And yes, is this a bit of overkill? Probably. There we go. This is just going to go like that. And then, of course, we need to do dimension, or we need to do some embellishments on there. So my embellishments were here. So I'm hoping that they're still here on the table. Yeah, here we go. I am going to use the brushed metallic. Let's use the gold. Let's do that. I want it on this side, so I'm going to go ahead and use a big one. And we're just going to use it over there. And there's our card. So I hope you enjoyed that. Like I say, the star of the show tonight was Versamark. And of course, what we added onto it was to use the fantastic soft pastel assortment. We basically colored this card. We also used the fallen leaves 3D embossing folder. And of course, we also used this beautiful ribbon, and it is called satin edged ribbon, and it goes with the lights aglow suite and the metallic pearls. So I hope you enjoyed that. So what's coming up next? Oh my goodness. So I hope you can join me on Saturday. Saturday is my regular sketch challenge. I do that at 10 o'clock Pacific time. I love doing that. This would have been a really good sketch challenge, right? It would have been a really good one. In any event, maybe someday that'll be the sketch challenge. I hope to see you then. Don't forget about the weekly specials. Let me just quickly jog on down to the desktop. These are good until next Wednesday. Use them as an add-on. It'll work really good. An add-on for different things, or you could purchase all of the specials. They're great specials. Don't forget, bingo is closing up. My Your Creativity Awaits is closing up. Plus also the stamp camp that we have going in October using Boughs of Holly. So much going on. Oh my goodness. I'm sure you as a customer is sitting there going, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? There's just too much. In any event, just reach out if you have any questions and I'll give you a hand. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.